Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Helck, episode 21. So we are nearing, slowly but surely, we are nearing the completion of this season. Hopefully this season, hopefully there's gonna be more. But yeah, this season is 24 episodes, today's gonna be 21st, so we are slowly but surely getting there. What can we expect from today's episode? I don't know. Everything depends on whether we are going to go back to Helck and Vermilio, or are we going to continue with Asta's adventures with Shalami. Yeah, like legit, everything depends on that. But let's maybe talk about the previous episode, because it was decently significant, I would say. Not terribly so, but or rather, instead of it being significant, it has interesting it creates some interesting possible scenarios, right? It has some interesting implications. And yeah, the fact that Shalami is alive really has interesting implications. Because the plan seemed to have been to kill all humans and turn everybody into a hero. To, I don't know, to whatever ends the human king deems them necessary, or Mikaros deems them necessary, or whoever is the brain of this operation here. I'm still unsure about that. But then we have Raphael and Shalami, who are randomly just kept alive. Raphael, I can understand. Maybe he is somehow crucial to the whole plan, but why Shalami? Could it be that Raphael has enough pull on the king and on Mikaros to make demands to let his daughter live? Interesting. Very interesting. Shalami is at the same time kept completely in the dark about anything that's going on. She knows that there are some winged humans and they bring her some food, but she doesn't know where Helck and Kles are. She doesn't know what exactly is going on in the world. She doesn't meet anybody except her father. So I wonder if Shalami will be relevant somehow. I don't know how exactly. Maybe she will give much needed intelligence to Asta. Maybe she will sway Raphael. Maybe, I don't know. There are possibilities there. Her very existence really creates a lot of possibilities. Besides that, not an awful lot really happened in that episode. It was mostly not a summary, but it was mostly a meeting that Asdra had with Ista and Hon about what's going on right now. Then we went straight to Asta, sneaking around the capital city. She heard some interesting information that we already knew from before, of course, but neither Asta nor the demon side at large was aware of that. We only knew that from our adventures with Helck, from the flashbacks, and so on. She found a very interesting room with a very interesting book with a very interesting note. Or I think it wasn't as much of a book as it was a notebook, a journal perhaps. It mentioned saving the country, saving the humanity, some things in that vein. So probably a journal of the king or whoever the king used to be. Alternatively, a journal of Mikaros. I don't know. Could be either, could be neither. Who's to say? Could very well be Raphael's journal. I genuinely don't know. And yeah, that was the episode. So in today's episode, we will either continue from that. We will have Asta talk to Shalami a little bit more. Maybe we will have Azadra move out their forces towards the human kingdom, maybe some other skirmish, I don't know, stuff like that. Or we will go back to Helck and Vermilio as they travel towards the border with the humans, perhaps together with the Harpy, and they are going there to meet up with Azadra to attack the humans. Oh, and we of course heard about Azdra's plans to use Vermilio and Helck as their like main attacking force, right? The rest of the demons will just distract the human army. Meanwhile, Vermilio and Helck will just punch through and beeline it for the capital city, beeline it for the king. And apparently, they aren't even strictly necessary. There are some people who would also be up for the task, so that's interesting. And also, another important thing that happened, Asta met Kles. Kinda sorta. Met Kles's current form. I'm just gonna say it that way. She didn't know what was going on, of course, she had to run away. So she didn't stay for particularly long there, but she knows that there is a creature like that lurking in the castle. And yeah, again, we either continue with Asta or Azadra, or we continue with Helck and Vermilio. We will see that in this episode, I guess. So how about we just watch it? Watch it, right? You'll need your subs, of course, to do that, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm also gonna have to ask you guys for your support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 21 of Helck in 3, 2, 1, go. Yep. Also, one, I guess, important thing. I was constantly under the impression that much more time has passed between the events from Helck's flashbacks and right now, and I was kind of surprised, even now, seeing Shalami in the recap, how young she is. Does she not age or something? But now, of course, there hasn't been that much time. Probably counted in weeks, months, rather than years. So that kind of puts things in a very interesting perspective. Body and soul completely transformed as Kless is being shown on the screen. Okay, let's see. Who are we going to follow? Phase 2, so I would assume Azadra. Or no, Helck and Vermilio. And the Harpy joins them. I mean, yeah, that much was inevitable. Assuming you aren't at war yet, because I would really call the state your countries are in war even now, so. What are you trying to blow up? Yeah, you're not really gonna have the chance to do anything. What did you expect? Yeah. Right, we will die and grow stronger and come back. Oh, they're utilizing monsters? Well, I guess that's one way. Okay, so I guess the humans are getting smarter. No longer just blindly attacking, but utilizing monsters. They are either bluffing, or the king, or Mikaros, or Rafaed, or Harul, or whoever actually does have that power. Interesting. Oh, a flashback? Flashback to what point, though? Flashback to where... Oh, I thought it was to when they were setting off against... Oh, it is the flashback to when they were setting off against the Demon Lord. So, are we going to learn about how did both Kless and the Demon Lord lose so badly? A black hole. Does it summon monsters? Yep, he is summoning the New World life forms. Okay, so it is Mikaros' magic. Damn, Mikaros is really versatile, isn't he? Not gonna be that easy, I'm afraid. Nope. Azadra himself, okay. Wearing his mask. Not gonna help much, probably. capture at least one of them alive. Oh, sure. No, the other castle is probably well protected. Oh, Mikaros himself. Interesting. I didn't take him for someone who would be fighting on the front lines. Yeah, that teleport of his. Dorsh. Okay. Let's show us what you're made of. Yeah, the teleport. Hello, Edil. Yeah, there's something waiting behind those doors. Oh, Hura. What are you, Mikaros? Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure. If Kenros joins in on the fun. And there goes your hand. Unfortunately, he can regenerate those. Head now. Please. Ah, teleport, of course. That's an interesting sword. With some dark aura. And of course, he can regenerate his hands and his weapons and everything. Yeah, what is he? Yeah, is your sword a part of your body? And yeah, I guess Hura can also regenerate. Oh, I guess no. Wait, didn't she have her hand, or did she lose it again? Okay, yeah, she lost it again, and she cannot regenerate it now. Oh, legit? What are you, Mikaros? Somehow I don't think he's just a normal human. Simply, very good at magic. There's more to him. Is the stone actually unguarded? Or it's a trap. It is a trap. Yep. Azadra. Yeah, the latter. He was wearing a mask, so it wasn't him. It was a doppelganger taking his form. Who's that? Oh, it's this guy. uh, oh, so it's an accessory. It's not even real ears. Who says he's a human? I mean, yeah, as I expected. And then probably mortally injured class so that he can be used. Oh, I was afraid we are at like 21 minutes or something and they're gonna roll the credits, but no, we get to see their fight in this episode. Oh. He can regenerate probably from that form even, yeah. Somehow. The power of the New World. What is the New World even? New World life forms. Mikaros can use New World power. Are we talking like parallel universes here? Who says you're gonna die? Or maybe you're bluffing. That also makes sense. Yep. You know each other. I guess you do. Azedra? Or Thorn? No, Azedra, okay. So they do go way back. So wait, is the Hero Slayer originally Azdra's sword? Yeah, that's a very good question. Better question. What are you? No. actually? Just a run-of-the-mill human? Grown this powerful? That's why, after a battle is done, you go through the battlefield and stab everybody in the back just to make sure. Or burn the corpses. That's also a way to go. So, are you the same as the Awakened Heroes then? Okay, what is the new world though? Also, what's the deal with the king then? What's the role of the king in all of it? Yeah, not gonna be that easy to get rid of Azadra. But I changed my mind. Good old melee combat time. Or not. Floating spears, that also works. Credits. Yep. Oh, that was an interesting episode. My commentary might have been lacking because I was trying to absorb everything that's going on. Because this was a lot. This was a lot of lore and world building and story to drop on as in like 20 minutes. Did we have the lyrics before? Because I don't recall them. I either didn't pay attention to them or they were added. It really seems like there's much more going on here. Some. Stop. Some interdimensional shenanigans or whatever. Next episode, Spellbreaker. Oh, someone breaks a spell. Maybe Mikado's. Maybe a sword is named Spellbreaker. Who's to say? Let's watch it again, and I'm gonna preemptively take out my notebook. Because there is gonna be some shit to write. Guaranteed. Where are you, Helck? Riren. There we go, Helck. That's a lot of Helck. That's a lot of Helck notes. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, recap opening. I really thought that we're gonna spend the time with Helck and Vermilio, but apparently not. Apparently it was just a mention of, hey, they exist and they're going, and Azadra will get the information about them being found. Cool, we established that. Let's get back into the meat of the story, being Azadra and Mikaros. Castle Shin. Of course, the demons aren't as easy. Yeah, New World life forms. And later on, Mikaros mentions New World energy, and Azadra also mentions New World energy, right? Like, oh, I don't like touching it, it's gross, or whatever, right? And then Mikaros says that he wants to bring upon the New World. What the hell is the New World? I don't know. I don't know. My first instinct, of course, is that the New World is some sort of a parallel dimension, perhaps a literal hell, as in a parallel dimension to the real world, to the overworld. There is also hell underneath, and beasts like that live in that hell, and you can get hellish magic from there, or stuff like that, and you can open the hell's gates and turn the overworld into hell on earth, or something like that. That's my first thought, of course, but I don't know. I don't know. New World is some other dimension or something. That's the best theory I can come up with right now. They get drawn to the life energy of living beings and to the stones that the demons use. And we know that it was indeed Mikaros who has the magic to summon those beasts. And even back then, even back before the whole awakening incident, even before Mikaros managed to secure Kless as a catalyst for the magic, he already threw around the term awakened. That's quite impressive considering you haven't awakened. So it really seems like this was Mikaros' plan for a long time now, which I guess really lends credence to my belief that the king is just a puppet. Mikaros is the true mastermind behind all of it. Mikaros perhaps created the king, perhaps controls the king, perhaps uses the king as a mouthpiece, but Mikaros is at the center of it all. Immensely powerful. We're gonna need some monsters to help us. Yeah, New World monsters. Those mouths opening and closing really reminds me of the little goats from Overlord, except those look better, so... Monsters. And this is supposedly Azadra arriving. How did the dog manage to look like Azadra? Either magic or paint, I guess. I guess paint, fake ears, and a wig. I guess they have a similar physique, so maybe it would work. I hope Dorj and everybody else is actually alright. Hura, most of all. We haven't seen the result of Hura's duel with Edil. Yeah, Hura's no slouch. Of course she can land a hit on you. Even cut off your arm. But unfortunately, Mikaros is also pretty damn strong. He can regenerate his body, yeah, but apparently he can also regenerate his weapons. Are his weapons also a part of his body? Also, there's this purplish black haze that he uses as the New World energy. That's the same that the Tothman King had, right? And that's also the same that Helck exuded when he was angry, isn't it? Could it be that the New World energy empowers living beings in general? Or a connection with the New World. If a monster happens to be connected with the New World, they turn into a New World life form. If a human happens to be connected with the New World, they become a hero. And they can utilize the New World energy in a controlled way. That would also make Mikaros himself a hero. Purely from like a technical standpoint. What happens to demons when they have a connection with the New World then? Have there been examples of demons who do have it? Do they turn out like the Tothman King? Hero powers are based in the New World. This is also another thing that we're gonna have to figure out. What is the New World even? Like, sure, I had a theory here that it is a parallel dimension of some sort that they can draw energy from. But what if New World is... Mikaros wants to bring the New World upon this world. What if it's just a state? Basically, monsters get replaced by New World life forms. Humans get replaced by heroes. Magic gets replaced by New World energy. Kind of like an evolution of what is here in this world. Everything in this world evolves into a higher state of being, thus creating a new world. It's a hypothetical, not an actual place. That's also possible. A new world is a hypothetical state of the current world with humans, monsters, magic, all elevated. Everybody knows that body parts can be regenerated. Yeah, Hura knows it best because she can do that, but you expand your energy to regenerate. Now, thankfully, I think in this moment, Edil unknowingly just saved Hura. I was actually afraid for her that Mikaros is going to finish her off, but I think Hura, even with just a single arm, will still be able to fight Edil and win, or at least survive. Meanwhile, she would have trouble handling Mikaros. Creating a gate won't be a problem at all. So, the new world is a place creating a gate to another world, or creating a gate that can transport troops from the capital, like at the beginning of the season. Probably the latter. And of course, Azra is here. Human sorcerer. We get this explained. Or, well, explained. Admitted it was indeed Mikaros who killed Demon Lord Thor and Demon Lord Urum and probably Kles. But just enough so that Kles can still be used. Which makes Mikaros immensely powerful. Truly, truly immensely powerful. And yeah, of course, we learned that they both kept insisting for a peaceful resolution, because we know that Thor and Kles were both pacifists, so of course they would insist on a peaceful resolution. But Mikaros would not have it. Motherfucker can regenerate even from this point. I guess as long as the head remains intact, he can regenerate? Is that it? Also, some of those shots are, I'm gonna be honest, kind of comical. Just a still frame of Mikaros doing the ooga booga and some clouds of smoke added in post. Like, hey! Yeah. I guess there wasn't enough budget to make a, big flashy fight here, which is fine. The story is really the main drive here, the story and the people, the characters. But this is just funny. Still frame of Mikaros just trying to scare Azra here. But also there's something very like, how do I call it? Classical old Japanese art with this pose, for example, right? Or this pose here. There's, I don't know if it's intentional or did my brain just cross two completely different synapses and that's what created this association. But there is something like, I know, artistic here about his poses, about how his cloak billows around him and things like that. It might not be the most dynamic, but it does look cool, I guess, maybe. The power of the new world. Apparently the power of the new world actually can hurt Mikaros and hurt him good. That's right. However, I'm going to look in a special cell. And we get a backstory. Apparently, Azra was fighting humans. Why? That's a question. It's a very good question. Was it before humanity and demonkind were at peace? Or was it some war after that peace has already been broken? Seeing how Mikaros just casually throws around 1500 years, I would assume this was a period before humans and demons lived peacefully. Then they had a period of, I don't know, a couple hundred of years, or maybe even 1,000 years living peacefully. And then Mikaros came onto the scene, used the king as his mouthpiece, and started the war anew? Probably. Almost like a literal devil, the mere sight of you made everyone tremble and flee. And with a sword. Now, we don't know if it was the sword responsible for Azra being able to slay heroes left and right, or was it just his innate power? Rank and file soldier. This is actually interesting. The sole survivor of this massacre dedicating his life to grow stronger and to destroy the demon kind and to bring upon the new world order in which he is at the top. Makes for a nice motivation. All this time I really was under the impression that Mikaros is just not a human. He is either a being from that new world that somehow got through the dimensional wall, or maybe he is a hero but got corrupted in some way, or, you know, something along those lines. But apparently not. Apparently he's just a normal, regular human. There were a handful of survivors, but their bodies were tainted by the poison of the demon realm, and they died. Yeah. How are you alive then, Mikaros? You absorbed this miasma, right? Which means that you too... Exactly, but I acclimated with poison of the demon realm. Apparently that's something that can be done then. You can just acclimate to the poison, to the miasma. And awaken my inner power. Humans that have awakened are endowed with a special ability, yeah. And the power of that ability has enabled me to stay alive all this time. So Mikaros is awakened. Mikaros is technically a hero. Am I reading that right? Or is he talking about a different kind of awakening? It's just the same as yours, the power of eternal youth. So Azra also has the power of eternal youth. He is also awakened. He is like demonkind's hero. The only context in which we hear of awakening is heroification. So this would lead me to believe that both Mikaros and Azra are technically heroes. Awakened through... I don't know. Mikaros and Azra are technically heroes. Revenge? No. The birth of the new world. What would that entail, though? It has always been and will always be my ultimate goal. And we, of course, cannot allow that. Because the birth of the new world will put an end to the current world. Apparently. Hmm. Oh. Huh. And here I thought it's gonna be simple. Here I thought that Mikaros or the king, assuming the king is actually an actual person and not just Mikaros's puppet, they just want power, right? They just want to more territory for humans, or, you know, something basic like that. Here I thought that Mikaros might be just a really powerful mage. But there is so much more. There is possibly some interdimensional shenanigans going on. Some new world powers. The end of the world. That's a lot more. That's really legit a lot more than I expected. I thought it's gonna be fairly simple, right? Helck is gonna get into the capital, he's gonna kill the king. Turns out, oh, the king was actually empty inside. It was just a swarm of bees that Mikaros was controlling. Alright, next target, Mikaros. We gotta find Mikaros. We find Mikaros. Helck punches him in the face. Mikaros splatters onto the wall. Yeah, we won. That's more or less how I envisioned it going. With some more nuance here and there, of course, it wouldn't be quite as simple. But I at least thought we're gonna be limited to like this world. Not that we're gonna involve a whole another world, a whole another magic power, a whole another layer of things to it. Now, I'm not saying this negatively. Absolutely not. I actually love it. I love whenever there are some interdimensional shenanigans going on. And it actually really reminds me of Shield Hero in that way. Shield Hero ultimately was a fairly simple premise and a fairly simple story that was told in a fairly simple way, right? There are the bad guys, we need to beat the bad guys, we need to win against the waves. We finished the wave, we fought the last boss, hooray, we won, right? That was essentially how Shield Hero was set off to go. And then we introduced heroes from a parallel world. And that piqued my interest. Then we travel to that world. Then it turns out there are more worlds being pitted against each other. And that really like grew way out of the initial first season and really sparked my interest. And something similar is going on here. If I read it correctly, that we are actually talking about some sort of a parallel universe or potential parallel universe or I know, something like that. The fact that Mikaros summons the monsters not by creating a nest that they crawl out of or by spawning them from the thin air, but rather by opening a tear in reality that they crawl out of, really makes me believe that he is essentially opening a portal to hell, and that's the new world. Yeah, it really goes above and beyond the what you would assume would be the premise, being Helck goes on a journey, Helck encounters obstacle, Helck punch, Helck win, Helck continues journey, right? There's a whole new layer of it. It's good. It's good. Really good episode. Really good episode. Really just opened up the whole thing. I was actually kind of maybe not worried, but I was wondering how are they going to have more? How does this season not cover the entire story, right? Because we have like 3 more episodes to go, so it's a perfect amount of episodes for demons to attack humans. Helck and Vermilio get in there, they fight the king, they win with the king, hooray, we won, right? It could have been resolved in just this season if that was the case. And I was wondering how can the manga, the light novel, continue past that point? Well, now I know. Well, now I know how. Because that's not the end goal. Killing the king actually won't change anything. Mikaros is our goal. Mikaros is our target. And that is assuming that killing Mikaros actually fixes anything. Because it could very well be that, sure, we kill the king, we kill the Mikaros, but there is still the looming threat of the new world. It still leaks through the cracks between dimensions. Kind of like, I know, White Frost from The Witcher or something like that. Good shit. Good shit. I guess that's gonna be it from me, though. So, how about you guys? How did you like this episode? How did you like my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? Tell me all about it in the comments down below. No spoilers, please. Those spoilers can go to my Discord here. It's also linked in the description below. Free, open to everybody. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos of not only Helck, but also Magia Record, Shangri-La Frontier, Shy, Tate no Yusha, Sarhadon no Paladin, plenty of others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when I go live, because I do stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you can get early access to non-seasonal shows like Mage Record, and for just $1 you get a roll onto Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube itself via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Net, Copper Survivor, Zayrainer, Aquamaster, Dr. Watt, Marsh, UKLI, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them without having to use New World Magic to do that.